Okay, let's fucking get down to it. Boppers. More content on YouTube that is like un-YouTubey. So this notion and this style of content production is different than the typical social media because, if anything, the voice here and the conversation is the cleavage. The discourse, though, it's really just a monologue due to the fact that it's indirect, it's certainly not real time in its, what do you call being online? It's real time, but the scale of the real time is so unhuman or just foreign or just not a lot of precedent for that it bears it belies categorization at this point. It is rather solipsistic, but it is not at the same time. It's just a bias that is giving some sort of hierarchy of superiority or whatnot to this notion that I'm listening to this, I'm doing something, I have an idea that has come to me that I'm now, this has been providing the context for that. I'm not saying this is interesting visually, excuse me, but it is something that can be uploaded onto YouTube and thus content. And obviously recontextualized content promotion for this fucking program, which, how much is there of this fucking thing? Okay, so it's clearly not new. It's new to me. Puck and Matt Bellany and this whole thing is new to me. Apparently there's a connection to Bill Simmons. I'm agnostic. I'm like an ally to the Ringer and Grantland and that milieu, but he's talking to a lawyer, and they are talking about song credits. I mean, full marks to Spotify for at least, what is this? A fucking transcript? Is this No Agenda? It is a transcript. Wow, that's something else. I didn't know that. Anyway, the guy's talking about Led Zeppelin. He's talking about many things, mostly songwriting credits, and to me that's always the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's multi-touch attribution, call it profit participation, call it whatever the fuck you want. It's essentially who did what, and then the compensation is the proportion of the weight of the contribution. It is simple. Everybody understands this. We go through it if we've ever collected any kind of cards or any kind of thing at recess. I like to call it got it, need it, got it, need it, got it. Or Genie. G-I-N-N-I, because it makes me think of Barbara Eden's navel and breasts. Anyways, very attractive woman, Barbara Eden from I Dream of Jeannie and Harbor Valley PTA. So that little bit of context on Barbara Eden, in addition to the pursuit of who she is, which will obviously yield contemporary beauty that's resonant, etc. Anyways, let's hear this fucking guy, which is basically just, the song remains the same, everybody wants to get acknowledged in the form of points or commission.
Because if you have a Spotify subscription, that's potentially access to everything.
Yeah. Well, I had a case against a Grammy-winning song where the plaintiff's song never was released, but it turns out that the plaintiff recorded their song in the same studio where this famous band recorded their music, and they happened to be in the studio at the same time. And that was enough access.
That's pretty good evidence. All right, so let's go back here. The label does an analysis, their internal checklist. They say, okay, this album is cleared. We're good. Let's put it out there.
It was played on the radio where the Led Zeppelin guys live. So I don't think ultimately
argued that they didn't even know what
This is amazing.
music. So
This
therefore,
is
one of their artists
amazing.
must have had access to it. So many.
Okay, so you gotta pause with this shit because that shit, I don't get. The recording's gonna, if it's recording the mic. It's gonna beat me every time. But this interface, I mean, Spotify, it makes no money, Netflix makes $40 million after all said and done. Spotify makes less. Who cares about why? It's basically licensing the cost of production based on, blah, blah, blah. Slim margins. I don't know what you call that business, but I'll tell you what I call it. In need of evolution for additional revenue streams outside of like subscriber and ad supported subscriber. The lights just went on the streets on the town here, and I'll tell you, that's a sign. I'm right. I know I'm right. I don't care that I'm right. I can't do anything about being right. But this idea of indexing a smart Z layer on top of video that goes on and off like a light switch, that everybody just understands that there's context to everything that they're seeing and that everybody's indexing it. And some of it is like, not blue check marks, but legitimate companies that are indexing it. And some of it are just people that are indexing it. But I'm telling you, people are indexing it and la-di-da. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they should get some kind of compensation in the form of a point or a commission. How it's decided is not the point. The point is that the interface doesn't exist for it, and it needs to exist for a variety of reasons. Obviously, more so than just the companies that are Netflix and all the AMPTP streamers. It's not just for them. It's for also to provide micro employment for basically the world in the same way that like the proposed fucking bullshit income is going to provide income based on qualifications of however it is. But here's the point: everybody wants attribution. That
Cases actually get thrown out on the access element.
Right. Was that an issue in the Led Zeppelin case? If I recall, I think they argued that they didn't even know what the.
For the record, if when I upload this, YouTube's algorithm has some kind of problem with it because it's poorly programmed, I will dispute it as transformative due to the fact that I've just paused it, and it's like one of the categories of fair use is commentary. So I don't remember the exact wording, but essentially you can take any sample of anything as long as it's transformative. And one of the main points of transformative usage is commentary. Fair use isn't like a privilege, it's a defense. It's meditating on that and understanding that makes you understand this is what it is. That's why it's dispute, not any other word.
Infringing music was.
It was, but the song in that case by Spirit charted. It was played on the radio where the Led Zeppelin guys live. So I don't think ultimately access is what won the case. It was the lack of substantial similarity.
Right. So what you're mentioning there are elements that.
Led Zeppelin copyright infringement case. Led Zeppelin copyright infringement case, Spirit. Same shit. (2020)
Can prove access, whether it was charting on the Billboard charts, where the
Led Zeppelin guys live. So I don't think ultimately access is what won the case. It was the lack of substantial similarity.
And there you go. That's why they won, because it wasn't similar. And, well, geez, I mean, Stairway to Heaven came out probably 1970. If that case was resolved in 2020, so you got fucking 50 years. 50 years? That's, timing is truly everything.